There's a few things I know about Americans. You love guns, you have really weak beer, and you all love suing people. Today I'm going to talk about that last one. But more importantly, I want to talk about the man who defended the website somethingawful.com against all of their many, many legal troubles. I'd like to introduce you to Leonard J. Krabs, Esquire. The J stands for good work. I'm going to start by reading off some segments from Leonard J. Krabs' official website. Leonard's been practicing law ever since he was 15 years old and saw a friend wreck his bicycle into a tree. He successfully sued the owner of the tree for gross negligence and was awarded the sum of $15 million, which he immediately spent on Pez and Hustler magazines. Now, Leonard is much older, has expanded his operation to sue tree owners in over 3 states. He also handles various other accidents, whether they involve a tree or not, although he prefers the tree ones much more. Leonard loves to fight the big insurance companies that want to hold out on paying you for an injury that was due to your pure, unadulterated stupidity. If he can't get a court case against these companies, you can often find him outside their offices screaming obscenities and challenging the president to a knife fight. This unique, no-holds-barred approach to legal defense has earned Leonard a place on the ATLA, although they're not currently aware of it. Leonard has helped hundreds of people reclaim millions of dollars in lost income due to their own blatant idiocy. He has changed the life of a little girl in the hospital that had leukemia. He built the Suez Canal. He is responsible for creating the microchip. Leonard is known worldwide for the great deeds he has accomplished, and he is ready and willing to work for you. Leonard J. Krabs is Something Awful's powerful and definitely real lawyer. He's the alias that Richard Lotax Kianka, the founder of Something Awful, uses when he needs to throw a bunch of legalistic nonsense at cease and desist letters in the hope that they'll go away. It's cheaper than hiring an actual attorney at least, and under no circumstances do you have to hand it to him. I stress this every time, but it's his one good bit that I believe he was genuinely good at. The images of Leonard that appear on the site are of a real lawyer called Bart Durham. Lotax met him while he was part of a comedy troupe, and Durham loved the whole gimmick so much that he let Lotax use his likeness for the character. Bart passed away in April 2024 at the age of 89, but his image obviously lives on in the forums. So whenever you see Leonard J. Krabs responding to some legal threat with perfectly formatted legalese and a healthy dose of mockery, that's just Lotax wearing a fake mustache. But it worked a lot. Something Awful had a feature on the front page known as the Awful Link of the Day, where one of the writers would showcase something bad on the internet and tear it apart for everyone's entertainment. Naturally, this kind of attention sometimes brought about legal threats. Turns out, people don't like it when you publicly mock their shitty websites to an audience of thousands. This first lawsuit threat we're talking about today was an MMO called Era Online. It's one of those first-gen MMOs, talking like Ultima Online variety, top-down perspective, clicking everywhere, not a lot of things that you'd see today in an MMO. I have no real interest in finding out if it's any good. I will not be investigating further. The reason Era Online got featured in Something Awful was quite simple in Lotax's mind. It was an awful game with no redeeming qualities whatsoever. Perfect material for an awful link of the day. Once word of this mockery got back to the owner of Era Online, he fired off an email demanding that the link be removed immediately. Hello, we demand you take the article about Era Online down from your website immediately, or we will take legal action. You are breaking the slandering law, and we have full intention to pursue legal action against your website and the individual who posted the article. This is a warning before more serious actions are taken. Sincerely, Fantasia Studios. Note the misspellings, and if we want to be pedantic, the slandering law is not exactly inspiring confidence here, but, you know, it's the early internet, we can let that slide a little. Anyway, Lotax responds thusly. Era Online Administration. After a lengthy talk with my lawyer, Leonard Krabs, I have been told that we will be more than happy to remove the potentially slanderous material from the webpage in question. However, Leonard demands you come over and wash his car first. It is very dirty and has some kind of black junk all over the bottom of it. He drove over a road right after they tarred part of it. He normally wouldn't have done something stupid, but he was trying to escape some kids who looked menacing. He also demands you use the high-quality car wax and not that Pep Boys crap either. Leonard says he wants his car washed sometime on the weekend because that's when he's usually at home. I will provide his address if you'd like. Thank you very much. If you're in the habit of sending cease and desist notices by email, you would normally expect a compliance or a professional response and maybe a "we're standing by our editorial decision" or "please have your attorney contact ours, here's his details," something legally tangible. You probably don't expect to be told to come wash someone's car with premium wax. Naturally, the Era Online dev comes back repeating their request for removal of the content because apparently the car washing joke didn't land the way Lotax hoped. Never one to back down from doubling down, Lotax sends a second response to our complainant. I discussed this proposition with Leonard, and he responded by throwing a picture of Tang at my head. Not the original kind, the new type with vitamin C. This is his way of saying no dice. Leonard loves legal battles, no matter how mundane and baseless they are, this one being a healthy portion of each. I looked in the other room, and he's even putting on his lawyer battle suspenders, the red ones with stripes on them. Since I don't want to have to cause you to wade through the awful paperwork of finding out who to contact at my ISP, the admin's name is redacted, who you can reach by sending an email to redacted. I would recommend that you and your lawyer send a message with something along the lines of this. Oh god, we're doing a quote within a quote. Dear sir, some mean person made very nasty remarks about my crappy game. Since we now live in a world where every single whining crybaby threatens to sue somebody over the most trivial things, I feel I want to sue a person whose website is hosted on your ISP. Sure, my knowledge of the legal system is little to none, but I really want to sue this guy because he's so mean. I have obviously never done any research on libel, or I would have learned the following information. Ideas and opinions, whether true or false, cannot constitutionally be subject to libel claims. However, my lawyer, who also works the night shift at the local Dairy Queen, says I can sue for millions of dollars. I tend to believe him because I once saw him wear an expensive suit, and I think that makes him smart. Sincerely, Mr. Error Online Administration. You can cut and paste that into an email to him if you want, just give me credit for it or I'll sue you. Just kidding, I wouldn't sue over something as stupid and petty as that. Rich Lotax Kianka. The dev gets the hint at this point and moves on. The short email exchange is enough to make him realize that this isn't going anywhere. What this does is it proves the Leonard J. Krabs deflection system works. Well, at least when your opponent has a shred of self-awareness, but not everyone has that, obviously. A man named David A. Tiho emailed in once, demanding by extremely poor spelling that Lotax remove his picture from the Something Awful front page, lest he contact the FBI. Leonard himself responded with, Sir, if I had an ounce of rope for every 2-bit Nancy boy who dare challenge my legal arms, I would have more rope than Stanley Frabowski, the Rope King of San Antonio. Please forward me the name of your lawyer so I may attack him with the fury of righteousness and injure him with my legal fury. I look forward to receiving documents detailing your case, and I will use them as a bib when I dine on fine lobster and Coca-Cola tonight. Leonard Krabs. P.S. I'm your mother now. And the Leonard J. Krabs deflection system does its job once again. There are a few more over the years. There's Emerald City Recording, Limitless Horizons Entertainment. All are defeated by the mighty pen of one Leonard J. Krabs. Like I said, this is Lotax's one good bit. One final story for today. There are a lot more, but the one final story for today is the time that Jones Soda Co. took offense to Something Awful's, well, turning their soda into a Jim Jones Kool-Aid flavor. Here's how Lotax opened his article about the legal threat. Jones Soda has done an outstanding job cultivating their company's image as the small dog scampering about the corporate kennel of soft drinks. They're no Pepsi or Coca-Cola, they're the guys who slap photos of ugly children on their bottles and try and poison you before your parents' holiday dinner. Then re-released this Photoshop Friday. The theme was making fake Jones Soda labels, and because this is the Something Awful forums we're talking about, someone made a Jonestown Massacre flavor. If you don't know, Jim Jones is the cult leader who orchestrated a mass murder-suicide where over 900 people died after drinking poisoned Flavor Aid. Jones Soda Co. did not find this funny. They responded by promptly launching their lawyers at Something Awful because probably not much to do around the old soda factory these days when you're not busy creating horrifying holiday flavors that taste like regret. Anyway, Victor N. King, member of the Speckman Law Group in Seattle, sent an exciting Adobe PDF lawsuit up Lotax's inbox, and unlike the previous legal threats, which came from game developers and washed-up wrestlers, this one came from an actual law firm. This is a real lawyer, representing a real company, with real money to spend on this. The gist of their argument was that Jones Soda Co. owns trademarks for their bottle shape and label design, blah blah, look, we've all been sued before. Something Awful posts unauthorized images of Jones Soda bottles under the title Jones Soda Massacre. These images are offensive and repulsive, blah blah, this is damaging to their reputation. They demand the post be removed immediately, yada yada. If the Jones Soda Massacre and all Jones Soda bottles and labels are not removed from the Something Awful website prior to October 20th, 2008, Jones Soda will aggressively pursue legal remedies. That's lawyer speak for, we're going to sue the shit out of you and you will pay our legal bills. This meant Leonard J. Krabs was about to earn his non-existent retainer. From Leonard Krabs. Dear Victor N. King and associates of the Speckman Law Group, allow me to introduce myself. I am Leonard J. Krabs, a practicing attorney at law, which is the eloquent way of saying I wear a suit and tie even on days I really do not need to. Such as this Saturday, when I plan on going to the Hamilton County Regional Moped Rally to see if somebody put up the poster board advertisement I designed in Microsoft Publisher 2000. Already, we're off to a strong start. Leonard establishes his credentials as a bona fide lawyer, and then he goes on to explain he was the first American pioneer to popularize the Impact font back in 1966. He used it to create a flyer for his law firm that included the line, "I am a doctor of the court and will remove the swollen appendix of lawsuits from your bronchial tubes of negligence." Then comes my favorite part. Regardless, I'm deviating from my intended purpose. I was recently passed your enchanting electronic message alerting the employees of Something Awful LLC to your imminent lawsuit, a direct consequence of them either doing or not doing something that you do not like. I must admit that I have not technically read your lawsuit, since you chose to send it as an Adobe PDF file, a format I refuse to acknowledge under any circumstances. You see, back in 1995, I attempted to open and read an Adobe PDF file, and I instantly heard the sound of a ghost gently exhaling, followed by some bowls of walnuts falling from a short ledge. He then mobilizes his attack team of unpaid interns from the local community college. They don't attend school there, but they do hang out by the fountain and talk loudly at all hours of the night to research Jones Soda Co. One of them, Ben, the one with the disgusting beard, returns 14 hours later with a duffel bag full of expired seafood and the following research. 1. Jones Soda Co. makes soda. 2. Jones Soda Co. uses the name Jones Soda Co. to sell and market their products. 3. You are a lawyer. Exclamation points here are Ben's, not mine. Leonard then explains his legal strategy. I am a Capricorn, and apparently the stars shall align to give me a 584 experience point boost between December 21st and January 7th, so I would appreciate you taking us to court during this time frame. You will receive the rare chance to witness me powering up and gathering energy from nearby supernovas, which I will then channel and redirect towards that desk/table thing your legal team will be standing behind in the courtroom. Have you ever seen raw formica exploding in your face in slow motion 3D? You will. I want to make that previous sentence bold, but I do not know how, so if you could highlight it or underline it or something, I would appreciate. Sincerely, drawn my signature here, Leonard J. Krabs. I am an attorney. The email also ends with this. Now put yourself in Victor's shoes for a minute. You're a real lawyer from a real law firm. We've established that. You've sent what you believe to be a very serious cease and desist letter on behalf of a very real client with very real trademark concerns, and you get this. What the fuck do you do with this? Apparently nothing. Lotax never heard back from Victor or Jones Soda Co. No lawsuit was filed, no further threats was made. Leonard J. Krabs had done it again. He had successfully defended Something Awful against a real law firm by being so aggressively, incomprehensibly stupid that the other side just gave up. Great work, Leonard. The J does stand for good work after all. I have more in the lawsuit files coming shortly. There's plenty more of Leonard J. Krabs to come. But up next, there is a thread entitled, Who was Suing the Something Awful Forums in 2022? Until then, my name has been MLYP. You can find me at the links below. Subscribe to my Patreon if you want. There's a new bonus video about my favorite professional wrestler of all time. But don't forget, the internet makes you stupid.
Walk into the bank with some shit in your pants. 'Cause you had too many crystals and you somehow tried to dance. Walk up to the teller with an awkward grin on your face. Hand over the shitty check to him and it's time to get paid. But he says he can't cash it 'cause it's covered in shit. There's no way to sign it, and it's not even legible.